welcome back to another spooky episode of the Nerd for No Reason podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Raven.
And I'm your retro hard super fantastic spooky ooky host, Mark. Ow! What's up, y'all?
Perfect. No notes.
All right. So we gotta talk about this right off the get go. We are recording a day late because Raven went out and got super crunk last night. Uh Raven, how you feeling?
Oh, I'm fine. Other than just the fact that I've been up since 4 a.m. But hey, look, man, I know how to hold some alcohol. And whenever I hang out with my lovely friend Heather, that's basically just what has to happen. And we end up not getting home until like 10 or 11 o'clock at night because she just keeps going, let's go to this other bar. Let's go to this other bar. One more drink, one more drink. And I'm like, how do you convince me to actually do this? Okay. So she texts me on Saturday night, says something, and she was like, oh, I'm sitting at this bar drinking a like vodka and Red Bull. And I was like, nice. She was like, yeah, if you want to join, uh, feel free. And I was like, are you by yourself? And then I got like no response from her. And I was like, this is very much not like my homegirl Heather. Uh, and so I was like, I'm sure she's fine. She probably does have a friend that she's hanging out with. And so I text her the next morning. I'm like, hey, did you get home okay last night? She immediately texts back. She's like, yeah. I was like, oh, okay. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't hear back from you. And then I was like, hey, Chris has to work today, and I'm just really feeling like getting out of the house, and he's asleep right now. So, do you want to like go downtown Knoxville? We can grab like coffee and go look in some of the cute little shops and stuff. And she's like, yeah, give me like an hour. And I was like, cool, I'll come pick you up. And so I go and I get her, and we go downtown, and we go to this little coffee shop that neither of us have been to. And then we were gonna get like a pastry from the place next door, but they were closed. And then there was like a donut shop. So we walked over there and they were also closed. And we were like, what the heck? And I was like, yo, I do need to eat at some point. She was like, yeah, same. And so I was like, okay, well, there's the Yeehaw Brewery, like right around the corner from us. And I was like, their food's really good, so we can go do that. And she's like, okay, sounds good. So we walk over there. I just want to let you know that I was like, we're not going to be out super late. I know that I have stuff that I have to do, and I'm sure she also has stuff she has to do. So I was wearing a brand new pair of Dr. Martens that I've like been somewhat trying to break in at home. Like I just like wear them around. But yesterday they got worn for 10 plus hours and walked around in downtown Knoxville. And so today I definitely had like some blisters, but like I didn't know I had blisters until literally this morning because we went to Yeehaw and I was like, okay, I'm like on a diet to like try and get ready to start getting in shape to like go wedding dress shopping and like all that stuff. And so I was like, I'll probably just do like one beer, maybe two, because I do see another one that I would like to try. So she's like, okay. Uh, so we both get our first beer. At some point, we get a second beer. She gets a third beer, and I was like, no, I probably shouldn't. And then I went up and I got a third beer, and I was like, I'm gonna go ahead and tab out. And at some point, we like I was like, okay, we can go ahead and like head out. I just need to like use the bathroom. She's like, okay. And I come back and this idiot, love her so much, had gotten her fourth beer and is just standing there drinking it while I was like in the bathroom. And I was like, all right, God bless you. And then we were gonna like just like go back to the car, maybe find some cute little shops. And there's one that I really like, and it's right next to like this little bar that we went to that was doing like Dolly Parton themed stuff in like June. And Dolly Parton is like her girl. She's like her inspiration in life. And so I took her to do that. And this month they're doing like Halloween themed ones. And so she was like, yo, we went the other night. What if we just popped in for like one drink? And I was like, I was like, well, I am walking around. So like maybe I ended up drinking 9 freaking drinks in the span of the time that I was with her, and I was like, "Oh my god, Heather." And she also did, so she had 10 by the time that we left this bar because she had the 4 beers and then she also had like a whole bunch while we were sitting at this other place. But we were just like we sat there for like a good few hours, and at some point I was like, "Okay, I know you need to get some food in you." And she was like, yeah, what do you want to do? And so I took her to Chili's for her first time ever. And so we went and sat at the bar because I was like, it'll be easier to order food. And like, if we want to get it to go and like, whatever. This little idiot orders a freaking beer. And I was like, Heather, you have to stop. And she was like, just this one last one. And I was like, okay. It's fine. I'm driving you home. So yeah, when you called to be like, "Hey," because I had missed the message that you sent like earlier in the day, because I'm like walking around Knoxville, it's bright as heck, and I probably just was not paying attention. Yeah, I was like, "Oh, I'm just now realizing what time it is, and now I feel bad for Bart." So
No,
then I
so
call you to be like, "I'm so sorry," or did you call me?
no, you called me,
Okay, that's what I
but
thought.
but
Uh,
I love when I unexpectedly get a drunk phone call from friends. I love it even more when the people are happy drunks and they're not like because the second I said hello and you were like, Mark, I was like, oh yeah, she's out partying. We're not recording
oh.
a syllable tonight. But what was even better was Heather, I guess, in the passenger seat,
Yes,
was just like, Mark! I'm like, she's my new favorite person. I
man.
love her. And like, it was just pandemonium. It literally sounded like two Amy's in a car. Just, and
Right, yeah.
I was like, what in the absolute world is going on? And you were like, I've been drinking since noon. We're going to Chili's.
Sorry.
Okay. I loved it so much. It made me so happy.
Oh, the worst part is the fact that you were like, "Hey, Amy's in the car with me," and I instantly was like,
No,
"Heather, shut up."
no, I meant as I said, it sounds like you have Amy in the car with you because
Oh,
Heather wouldn't
okay.
stop talking.
Yeah, no. That's my girl. She just yaps. Uh, she's so funny and I love hanging out with her, but sometimes I have to like look at her and I'll be like, "Would you just like shut up and let me finish my story?" Because she'll be like, "Oh, and by the way," and then it's just like the Heather show, and it cracks me up because that's just how she is, like standard. And then when she gets drunk, her she's the same person. It's just like her filter of like, maybe I shouldn't say this when I'm sober, but when she's drunk, she's just like, yeah, she
Yeah.
herself is two Amy's in a car. So add me, and there's like 3 Amy's in a car.
Oh, she was y'all were getting it yesterday. Y'all sound like y'all had a good
Oh,
time.
oh
I'm not
man.
gonna lie, was a little jealous.
Sorry, my man.
So
You
maybe
out
one
there
day when
doing the parent stuff.
one day I'm gonna come up there and visit y'all, and I'm gonna be like, I want to hang out with Heather.
Oh, don't you worry. She'll be at my wedding. And I literally was like, I know I'm going to have to look at the bartender and be like, this girl right here, I need you to look at her photo. And at some point, just go, no more drinks. And Heather's going to be like, what? Because she already pregame before she came to the wedding. That's Heather. But yeah, no, she's a great time. I'm always like, people should come hang out. And I'll just be like, yeah, Heather, which bar should we hit up tonight? She's from Maryland. Um and she is like country as heck, and she
From
enjoys
Maryland?
line. Yeah, yeah. She's a fun time. And she loves line dancing, and so that's what she does most like Friday nights is she'll be like, I'm going out to the bar to go do line dancing. And I'm like, all right, babe, I don't know how to do that, so I'm not going to join you. She's like, okay. But yeah, you should come down sometime and come hang out with my girl Heather. It's a fun time. And then Chris will be like, oh God, now there's three of them.
Come on, Chris. Stop being an asshole. Get out here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I always am like, man, we got to do this more. And then she's like, I know you won't. And she's like, I think you allow yourself every like 2 months. And then at some point you go, okay, I can hang out with Heather again. Because I
Listen,
know that I'm going to get trashed,
I straight
or I'm
up,
going to, yeah.
I have friends that I know that I'm like, listen, I know that I'm only going to be able to hang out with you just this one time, both like personally, and then just like the sheer fact of like just hanging with you is exhausting. Like, but let's do it. We're gonna do it big, and then I'll catch up with you in like 6 months, and we'll do it all again.
Yep. And I work with her. So I'm like, it's all good. And my like aunt is our boss, obviously, and she this morning was like talking to Heather because Heather lost her voice the night before her and I went out because she did what she does and she gets intoxicated, and some guy was being rude to her friend and she got all up in his face and started yelling at him. She's like 5 foot and she's so tiny, and I'm just like, I love this for you that you got in some giant man's face and were like, you suck and get away from my friend. And she's got like, so her voice yesterday was just fried, as well as she's experiencing sinuses for the very first time.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, she was like, I think I'm coming down with like the flu or COVID. And we were like, oh no, babe, you moved to the mountains and that's what it is. And she was like, oh, okay, this sucks. And I was like, yeah. So, other than that, my random, you know, call to be like, we can't talk tonight. I'm sorry. How was your week, man?
It was pretty good. It kind of up and just disappeared on me. That seems to be the thing now. I think it's because we're just at the end
Yeah.
of the year, and I am just kind of just zoning out at work. Like literally, I'm just like people come to me for questions, and I handle it in the moment, and then I'm pretty much just like, all right, I'm done. I don't want to. I'm just gonna check out, you know. And I'm
Yeah.
really kind of just at that point. And I was mentioning today that as much as I love my job and I love where I work and I love the people I work with and for and all of that stuff, it's great. But I really think like I need a 6 month break just from that office and like everything else. Just be like, give me 6 months. Give me 6 months. You can put me in the same job in another office and let me deal with that, but I don't want to deal with this anymore. And it's not, and I've got a good handle on everything, but I think I just need like that change of environment for like 6 months.
Yeah. Oh,
And
I get it. Yeah.
and rotate out and then rotate back in, and I think I'll be great. But yeah,
The burnout is real. That's for sure for me.
yeah, it's very much a um, kind of just like a corporate thing, and even though like this is probably like the absolute least corporate kind of office environment you could probably be in, but yeah, it's weird, and I work with unusual personalities and all of that other kind of stuff, and yeah, it just kind of just goes by, and then the next thing I know, it's the weekend, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna play some video games and not fold my clothes, and when I should in fact be folding my clothes. So yeah,
I mean,
but I'm
that's
like,
fair though.
the World of Warcraft is not gonna save itself.
So true.
So, um, before we get into the movie, I gotta rant. Like, I gotta get up on my pedestal and I gotta rant because something came across my timeline last week that was so egregious that I said this shall not stand, and I don't have anyone else to talk to, so I'm gonna talk to you about it. Uh,
Sure.
as you know, me and my family, we're big Disney heads here at the house, right? Do you know how much it costs to go to Disney?
Uh, I don't. Chris and I were like talking about this not that long ago though. And is it for just like one ticket? But it's like I don't fully understand the pricing for Disney, to be honest, because I know that you can get like, is it tickets to all of the parks or you have to pick a specific park for like the day or something?
You can do. There's all different kinds of options. They incentivize you to go to basically get multiple day tickets. Um, you know, to get the multiple day tickets where you can do one park a day, um, or you can do a park until 2 o'clock, and then you can park hop. So you can do essentially like two parks in a day. That's all
Okay.
fine and good, but they give you a better deal overall if you book multiple days. But if like let's say you just went to Orlando for some un-Disney related thing and was like, you know what, let's go to Disney today. And regular person off the street, it's gonna cost you about $150. So
Okay.
so that is one person at one park for one day. So if you and Chris were to go, you would have to spend at a minimum $300 to get in the park,
Oof.
and then stand in line. That doesn't include food. That don't include no photo pass. That is the basic bare minimum to get you in the park.
Yeah.
And if you are not first in line at certain parks, you will be waiting hours to ride the hot rides. Okay?
Yeah.
So I say all that to say that Disney it will be introducing a thing called the Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Currently, they have a thing where you can buy a spot in the Lightning Lane for like a ride. If you say, hey, I really want to ride that Star Wars ride, you can hop on and it'll cost you $15 per person, and you'll basically book a time slot for you and your family to show up, and it's $15 a person. We've done it.
What?
If you can get there, if you can get a spot in line, it's great for certain rides, specifically Rise of the Resistance, because that line is always super duper long. But if you're willing to spend the $60 for a family of four to say, cool, we're going to be there at noon,
Yeah.
worth it. Absolutely worth it. Okay.
Okay.
Um, so with that being said, they have a new Lightning Lane Premier Pass that as of right now, that they will be doing until the end of the year, is an additional. Better yet, let's do it this way.
Oh God.
Yeah. So I'm going to say what you get, and I want you to guess the price. It is a one time entry to each of the lightning lanes available within the park. So, what that means is if there are 10 rides that have lightning lane access, you can do each of those 10 rides via the lightning lane only once.
Okay.
Okay? It is only valid for one park, one person per day. Okay?
Okay.
Um, you also get the photo pass, Disney photo pass, which is another ludicrous amount of money.
Oh my
Um,
gosh.
and you don't need to choose specific arrival times. So, it's like the ease. You just show up and boom, there you go. All right. It is available at all four of the Magic Kingdom parks, and each park has a variety of different things. So, now with
Yeah.
all that being said, how much do you think that this is going to cost?
All right. So you
And
said a
this is not
basic
a,
ticket
and
is
this is not
150?
included. This is not included in your price of admission.
Oh. Um. So this is just like the little package deal by itself, not with ticket. Correct?
Correct. Yes.
Oh God. What, like 200? 250?
Oh, I wish it was 250.
Jeez. No. No.
Yeah. $400.
No. Oh my God.
So
Plus
if
a
you and
ticket,
Chris,
so 550
yeah,
for one per. No, absolutely
one
not.
person, one park per day.
That's crazy. That's absolutely wild.
That's one of those things where um and they're like, "Oh, well, we're going to have flex pricing where it's going to be different prices during the year, whatever." No, whatever. That's dumb. Um on average, $400 in addition to the $150 price tag that it costs for you to get in the park. If you and Chris were to go and decided you wanted to ball out, it's going to cost you more than $1,000
Dude.
to go to one of the Magic Kingdom parks for a day. That is insanity to me.
And then, like, of course you're going to get food. You're going to get drinks, especially if you go to like Epcot and you're
Yep.
like, oh, we want to do the around the world thing. And then you also want to get like cute little souvenirs, which are, of course, expensive as heck. Oh my God. No to all of that. That is
Yeah.
insane.
It is so wild to me. And like we've got Disney down to a good system, but like it is ludicrously dumb expensive to go to Disney now. So much so that like I can't even justify a trip in my brain. I can't even be like, "Oh yeah, let's go to Disney." And like there are ways to save if you really plan it. You can like go to the parks in the evening times and like do the after hours stuff and all of that. And it gives you I don't know, for the lack of better terms, a limited experience. But if you're cool with not trying to go in the middle of the day in July, dude, pay the extra money, go after hours. It's less of a crowd, it's limited tickets. Once the main group gets out of there and you're walking around the park with like, half the crowd size, it's, from what I understand, it's well worth the money. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Uh, I was actually just talking, like, I think this is why or how Disney got brought up, but my aunt was saying something about one of her friends that they're a family of four. They have two younger kids and that they love to go to Disney and that they'll just drop like they'll go to Disney for like uh I don't even remember how long she said it would be, but that they would casually be like, yeah, we're going to spend $10,000 for this trip that we do basically every year. And I was like, uh, no, what? That's crazy. Why would you want to do the same trip every single year just to be like, yeah, we're going to spend $10,000? Oh my gosh. I've been to Disney once, and the thought of just being like, yeah, I'm gonna ball out and do all this stuff. No. I don't care if it's like, no, it really is worth the money. No, I can't. Oh my God. Because I would be like, was this really worth the money? And now I'm gonna overthink my entire day at Disney and feel awful that I spent this money. 100%. Oh my gosh, that's insane.
Yup.
And are they already starting this, or is this something that's
When are
going
they?
to start soon?
When are they starting? The beginning October 30th.
Wow.
And let's see, the rollout of the Lightning Lane Premier Pass with very limited quantities for guests staying at Disney Deluxe Resorts or
Oh my
Disney
gosh.
Deluxe Villa Resorts and other select hotels. Yeah, basically the big baller hotels. So, yeah. So if you're staying at the Art of Animation or what's the other one? Uh, Pop Century, you might as well just cash out. We ain't dealing with you peasants over there in the budget hotels.
Dang.
Yeah, you heard me. I didn't stutter.
Dang. He really said that with his whole chest.
With my whole chest.
That's what the mouse is saying.
We want all your money. And that's the only time I'm going to do that.
Uh, I impersonate Goofy a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. I do it a lot when I sing too. It's insane.
And
And so
what would that sound like?
no.
Oh,
You know what? We can do it sometime when I actually like am in the mood and like in the vibe of it. Like I literally will just like start throwing on voices while I'm like listening to a song. And Goofy is typically my favorite to do. I
I'm going to tell you.
occasionally do hit Mickey Mouse up. I'm not gonna lie.
I'm going to tell you this. To me, it's hilarious. This hilarious Goofy story, and then we could talk about our movie. When
Okay.
I was real little, I mean, I had to have been 5, 6, maybe. This is way back in the day. This is 85, 86. Okay. My grandmother worked at a local Kmart. And this is back when, to talk over the intercom, every register had these microphones that you could just pull down and talk into. You didn't have to do nothing or anything. You just grab the mic, you pull it down, and go, I need help on aisle 6, and then you put it back. So, for what felt like forever, the temptation of this microphone was a calling. Like, it's so
Of
easy
course.
for me just to grab this microphone and talk into it. So,
Oh my god.
what I did one day, 5 or 6 year old Mark grabbed this damn microphone and with my entire chest goes, and my mom grabs me. So all you hear over the intercom is me going, ah, and just getting pulled away because my mom was whooping the shit out of me. But yeah, I did my best Goofy impression for everyone at Kmart in Warner Robins, Georgia in 86, we'll
God
say.
bless.
Yeah, fantastic.
Too bad as you were getting like, grabbed away, you didn't hit him up with a gorsh.
Listen, all I remember was doing the laugh
That's
because
so
like
good.
the second I did it, to be fair, my mom was on it pretty quick. But oh man,
Oh, that's
it
so
was so
good.
funny to me. Okay. Uh let's talk some scary shit. Let's come off of this crazy Goofy story that I think is hilarious and let's talk some crazy shit because this week's movie is none other than the newest entry into the VHS franchise, VHS Beyond. Raven, have you seen any or all of the VHS movies?
I know for certain I've seen the first one, and I'm really positive that I've seen the second one, but anything after that, no. So
Okay.
this was like my first time watching a VHS movie in a hot minute.
Okay. Yeah, me too. I know for sure I've seen the first one. I have seen the second one because there's only one segment that I really, really liked. And I think recently I saw VHS 85. And I think that came out last year. And it was pretty good. Um, but I really enjoy these kinds of movies for the most part because they're definitely I think they're a great way for independent horror people to kind of show off stuff that they normally wouldn't get a chance to show off. But
Yeah.
saying all that, Raven, what did you think of VHS Beyond?
There was definitely some good, interesting stuff in some of these little clips, videos, whatever you want to call them. It's hard for me to be like, how do I specifically say what I think about this when it's like, there's like five different videos that you
Right.
go through, and it's mostly like alien stuff. And then you get to Logan. Hello?
You can do it.
Was I gonna say Logan Long? What the where did why? Uh
Justin Long? Chris Long?
Thank you. Yes,
Gotcha.
Justin and Chris Long. You get to theirs and it has nothing to do with aliens, but man, oh man, watching that one, God bless.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, there's definitely a lot of like good stuff that you see, especially for some of these types of aliens, which is really, you know, seeing people do like crazy stuff. Uh, Mark, what are you what are your thoughts on this movie?
I'm kind of with you. I think as a whole, it's fine. There are definitely some films, some shorts that work better than others, but I think, like kind of like I said before, I think this is a great um, platform for young and independent, and or just people that are just like, hey, I just kind of want to do some horror shit, and I don't really, and no one else is gonna put it out anywhere. So let me loop it in with this franchise and see what happens. And I think this is very much like Love, Death, and Robots is on Netflix to animation people. I think this is the same thing for horror fans, where it's just like, let me see the weird shit you got. Um, and I'm kind of here for it. So yeah, kind of getting into the movie, I'm always curious with these movies, at least the ones that I've seen, especially because they all revolve around the VHS tape. Like, oh, because the first one's like, oh, we got to go get this tape and we got to do this, and everything's shot on VHS for the most part, or looks like it's shot on VHS. And I always wonder, like, how are we gonna update it? Because we can't, there's no way we're gonna be able to keep doing it. And I'm glad, like, for parts of this, like the wraparound stuff, is all like documentary. We figured out a way to kind of crack we got these old tapes, but we're shooting a documentary about them, and here's this, and let's bring it to
Yeah.
Corridor Digital, which I absolutely loved because I love the Corridor Digital guys, and I love that they were involved in this, and yeah. Whew.
Uh, so do you just want to break this down by like each video?
We kind of can,
Is that how we want to do
yeah.
this?
I mean,
Okay.
we can just kind of,
It might be easier to like follow along for
yeah,
people. That way we're not just like, oh yeah, and also by the way, in the first one, after we're like on number 4 or some
Right.
shit.
So, we'll save like all the wrapping, like all the in between, all the interstitials. We'll kind of just talk about those at the end. Is that cool?
Okay.
All
Sure.
right, cool.
Yeah.
All right, first one, first segment, Stork. Um, this is kind of one of those things where I'm like, how are we gonna do modern stuff with quote unquote VHS style, shooting? And they just like, cool, we'll do body cam stuff. And this is the Resident Evil game that I want to see.
100%.
Absolutely. When they start fighting zombies, like literally my first note is this is like a video game and I'm not upset. Um, it's this was great that the monster effects were pretty good. Weren't the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, but I'm not upset about it because I at the same time know that this isn't $100 million movie. Um, and I also think that there's some parts where they could have done like less would have been more.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. I can definitely see that.
Thank you.
Yeah. The style of this, I like booked it into like basically 3 different things that it was giving me. It definitely was giving Resident Evil 7. Like it Chris and I were like, this house looks almost identical because I fully played that one through. And I was like, are we sure they didn't just like copy and paste the layout of that? It also was really making me think of Phasmophobia, which is another video
Oh
game that
yeah.
I like super love, but it's like instead of ghosts, it's zombies. And then the like when it gets to like the chainsaw stuff, I was like, this is Ash from Evil Dead and some of this stuff. There was a lot going on in this one. And like you see the zombies and they're like, what the heck are all these little like bandages on their foreheads? And then they open them up and you see that it's like head empty, no thoughts. Uh and then you finally see the stork, the giant alien stork zombie thingy. And you're like, oh, that's kind of cool to make it seem like it just like pecked its little head and was like, here we go. Nice little nutrients for me and all of my creepy looking babies.
Yeah, that were apparently kid babies. I mean, excuse me, human babies.
Good old kid babies.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah. My bad.
uh yeah. But you could definitely that first one they were like, "Oh my god, it's a baby." And I was like, "Yo, something's not right with that baby." Chris was like, "But you can hear it making noise." And I was like, "You can look at its lifeless little limp arms and legs and go, "Hey, something's not right with that thing right
Yep.
there." Yeah. And then the other one that was like in the cradle. I was like, no, no, I don't.
I wrote.
I already don't like kids and babies, but like that one specifically, you can keep
I
it.
wrote. I wrote in my notes. I wrote in my notes. I was like, "Oh no, it's a bird, isn't it?" Yep.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
boy, let's go.
Yeah, this one was very interesting. I did like the concept though of it being like a stork and for whatever reason it's like I'm gonna steal some babies and then just slurp some brains and feed it to my weird little babies.
Yep.
Yeah. Uh so then we got the second one. Did you write the names of these ones down?
Yes, and honestly, it took me forever to like link it up because as I was watching, I was trying to write down the things. Yeah, this one,
Yeah,
the second one is called Dream Girl.
that's right.
Yep.
Yes.
Uh, Go
Uh
ahead.
this one was very interesting. 'Cause like you do the whole like starting scene where it's like just a bunch of camera people trying to like see this one girl, and it just starts out where this guy like falls and he's just got a piece of glass in his arm, and the other guy is like literally like an inch from it as he's pulling it out. He's like, "Whoa, you should really go to the hospital," like an inch away from getting a piece of gross glass shoved into your face because you just won't get out of man's personal space.
Right.
Uh,
This one this one gets weird, man. Uh
it
we cover
does.
we cover a lot of ground in this because also like right after that we go into like a full-on Bollywood dance scene and
Yeah, a whole music set,
for like a good hot minute I forgot that I was watching a scary movie.
right?
And then
Because it was cool to
right,
watch.
I was like, "Oh snap, is this what I'm missing with Bollywood? Like do I need to watch Bollywood movies?" And then like when she messes up and it cuts and I'm like, "Okay, yep, here we go. Uh let's go hide out in the trailer." And um I'm really kind of confused. What was the ooey gooey stuff that he was like, "Ah, what's this?" And he turns around and there's a head in a bowl. What was the slimy stuff?
Oh, yeah. Because I was like, what's the point of the head? Because you never really get full confirmation of what was going on in her trailer,
Right,
and then she's just like, "Oh, I I can do whatever I want. Well, I want to wear your face." And he's like, "Ah, ha 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 ha, I gotta go."
right.
And then just sheer chaos starts going off. And she was the girl that was playing the dream girl. She did like pretty good at like being a robot, honestly. Just being an unhinged robot, I guess is what we're gonna call her, because she definitely had sparks and other crazy stuff going on with her face, and she had a light up eye and all that stuff.
I'm going to butcher
What are you
her
doing in this
I'm
situation?
going to butcher her name. So forgive me in advance, but her name is Namrata Sheth. And uh she is absolutely stunning. It is wild that
Yeah,
she is in this movie. Uh she has to know
yeah, it's because
some
she's a dream girl.
yeah. Uh I really thought because these little shorts all kind of follow for the most part they all kind of follow like a certain kind of pattern, and a lot of the times they seem to go for the most shocking thing, and a lot of the times it's usually like, I don't know, spurting blood or just like, I don't know, something. I would have bet an entire paycheck when they were like, "Oh, it's a robot." I was like, "Oh, she's gonna puke acid. Like that's gonna be her thing." And then we're gonna get like this weird body horror of just like melting skulls and things like that. Kind of surprised we didn't go that route. Uh, but when she walks into the set and she grabs like that little electrical thing, I was like, "Oh boy, she's powering up. She's going Super Saiyan," and then just kills everybody. Um, yeah, and then of course we get the close-up gore at the end. I really also thought that she was going to be like, "Oh, but you're so cool. You told me I can live free," and then lets him live or something, you know. Nope, I was
Yeah.
wrong. She rips his face off and then walks outside and then kills all the paparazzi. Hooray!
Yeah, I made a note uh that literally just says, honestly, more women should rip off their faces, spit acid bile on men, and go a little crazy sometimes. I think it should be allowed.
That's all we need.
You know, it's just girly
Yeah,
things.
Slay Queen.
So true.
Oh man. All right. The next scene, live and let dive. Um, again, I genuinely thought this was going to go a completely different direction than it did. I was really kind of curious to see how are we going to do skydiving horror. Um, and we didn't really do skydiving horror. We just did all the horror on the ground. But I really wanted them to do like a full 5 minutes of them falling, of just gross, crazy horror stuff. Um,
Ugh. I mean, if you already have like a huge fear of like planes and like, even the thought of jumping out of a plane, they just kind of got sucked out.
you know, the funny
They're just falling and stuff.
the
I don't blame them.
the funny thing is, you say that in my notes. I wrote skydiving horror. I think skydiving is its own horror.
Yeah.
Because that
I literally was like, my fear of jumping from a plane is even more
right,
heightened. Like, no. Also, that guy had really shitty friends because he's like, hey guys, I don't like heights. And everyone's like, you're going to have such a great time. It's going to be the best time ever. And he's just like, ah, okay.
right. The acting in this one, in particular, this is the only one I thought this. I was like, this acting is terrible.
Oh,
The
yeah.
dialogue is terrible because everyone is. How do I even put this into words?
We're supposed to be crazy pumped on adrenaline.
Right.
And, dude, honestly, the first guy that was like, oh, I'm the one that starts all recording and blah, blah, blah. I hated him from the beginning. He was so annoying.
It was very.
I don't know if he was supposed to be that kind of guy,
I
but
think they
no, I
all
was
were
like,
supposed to
you're
be that
awful.
kind of guy.
Yeah.
But even
Like, even his girlfriend
I
sucked.
know. And
Ooh.
yeah, just I'm with you. Um what was it? Oh, uh when he falls down to the ground and his buddy like lands on him, and
Uh,
and then he gets up, and I was like, is that a decapitated hip? Come on.
of course.
Like this whole
Of
this
course.
whole segment, I was just like, come on, man. Come on. I will say this. Um uh the I didn't like that it went from like alien stuff, and I don't know why this hit me different, but like I'm cool like the gore and all of that other stuff, but when we're like people who have just fell out of a plane and now we're trying to cope with that disaster trauma, like that's not cool to me. Like if everyone just would have been like, "Oh man, we're so scared, but we're still kind of relatively cool." Like half the guys were still cool running around the orchard. Like I'm like, "Cool, whatever. Like let's rip their heads and arms off, rock and roll." But the people who like literally fell and they're just like, "Oh my god, I'm dying. This is horrible," and the camera's just in their face. I'm like, this is not so cool. Like I don't like the real life traumatic stuff. Like give me that weird sci-fi trauma.
Dang. Fair enough.
Uh,
Yeah. The orange grove that they were in, like, I guess if you're gonna go out in like a pretty intense way, like you get a nice little view. Maybe you get some snacks.
I think
Or you just take an orange and you throw it at an
I think
alien.
it would have been great if they would have been allergic to oranges. Like, oh no, not citric acid.
Oh no. The aliens are allergic to the oranges. Quick, get them.
I will say the last jump scare did get me when he's like looking in the back of the truck and he turns around and the alien's right in front of him. It did make me jump. I was like, okay,
Nice.
I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. After the old man blew the dude's hand off,
Dude, that poor guy.
he was going through it, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah, no, yeah. That also the like prosthetic stuff that they were doing for that hand, it looked rough.
Yeah.
So I was like, ew, no. And like the whole time I was like, man, I don't I don't like that part. Oh, that's too real. And I don't oh, it's awful.
Yeah.
The stuff that they were doing with like the alien powers was very interesting. Like I was like, what the heck are they were like zapping faces and you would think that those people would be cooked. just 100%. Like, there's no way you're coming back from this. But birthday boy over here is like, I got blasted in the face. I got my hand shot off. Now the truck that I'm trying to drive is floating in the air, and somehow I can see. No, I would hope that that alien would just fry me so bad that I could not see whatever's happening. Just let it go. Just let me die at this point. Oh, yeah, that one's rough.
Yeah. And then we follow that one up with what is probably my favorite one out of the whole group. The one that Justin and Chris Long, right? It's Chris?
God bless. Yes, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, Christian.
Yeah.
This is by far my favorite. Um, it
Have you seen the movie Tusk?
yes,
Okay. So when like this whole thing started, I was like, God bless Justin Long over here, just basically redoing one of his own. Tusk is such a wild movie. We should do that at some
we
point.
should we
But
should. Tusk is such a crazy thing, and Tusk is one of those movies that I listen to in real time, like the day that that episode of Kevin Smith's podcast came out. I remember listening to that, and they spend the
mm,
whole episode talking about this, and I was like, "This is the craziest thing ever." And then when he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm making a walrus movie," I'm like, "You son of a bitch, you did it!"
uh, but yeah, the the whole from the start of this, it was just like unhinged because you get that whole ad of the woman trying to be like, "Oh, you should come drop your dog off and let me take care of your dogs at my doggy daycare." And then I was like to Chris, I was like, those dogs in the back that are stuffed, look at those." And he was like, "Oh, I didn't notice those.
Yeah, I didn't notice him either until they pointed him out in the thing. In the
They were so awful to look at." Good God. The fact that she's over there like taxiderming her own dogs and she's like, "Oh, this one was so sweet. Look at how cute it is." And I'm like, that chihuahua? No. Get that thing away from me. Or Gary the Pomeranian? Oh, no. Absolutely not.
like I was genuinely worried for the first part of this that I was like, please, please, please do not do like animal horror in the sense like, oh no, we got to we got
Yeah.
to kill the dogs to make the things or do the things. I was like, please don't do that. Please, please, please don't do that. Um, you know, uh, and then I was also like, please don't be the other end of the spectrum and be like PETA horror, where it's just like, oh, we're vegetarians. Look at how bad these people do to pets and all this. I don't want to do that. Um, uh, yeah, and I clocked it pretty quick too. I wrote in my notes. I was like, Tusk. Is this going to be a
Yeah.
Tusk movie? Yes, hell yeah. Well, were my next words? Hell yeah! This is where this is where we put the naughty people who violate personal spaces. Like, what are you talking about, dude? She made a turn, and I love this
Oh.
segment so much.
Yeah. As soon as they went into that creepy, sketchy ass basement, I was like, She's over here like, here's the dog washing station. And here's all this other crazy stuff. And they're like, uh what? What you got going on here? What's all this tools for? And she's like, for my own taxidermy stuff. And I was like, no, absolutely not. And then she just, of course, has a man in a cage telling him to bark. Oh. And then the two of them are like, we gotta go. We gotta get out of here. We gotta take Pickles with us. We'll see you
Not
later.
so much,
Oh man. Looking at some of the stuff that she was over there doing, trying to, put paws on them.
dude. When she lifted up
Uh,
that
the
paw,
paw pads. No.
man.
It was so bad.
What in the hell?
Oh,
Ugh.
the jaws. It's just there was so much. There was like one person that had like a little tail thing
Yeah.
at some point, and I was like, that's awful. Uh, Gary just going ballistic
Ugh.
and killing a guy and just kind of like doing what dogs do, where they like dig and stuff, and he was just over there just boo boo boo, having a great time. And then we're gonna go upstairs and chase people outside. Like, if I saw something like that, if I was a mail carrier and I saw a massive doggy door on someone's house that I was like, a human could fit through that, no, I'm not going up there. I don't trust this shit anymore. Because if I see someone coming out in a whole dog costume and they look they look pretty fucked up, and I'm like, no, I quit. I'm going to quit on the spot and be like, you know what? You guys need a new mail carrier. Goodbye.
Well,
It's not
yeah,
worth
but
it.
that wasn't even a mail carrier. That was a porch pirate. That was someone who was stealing the packages.
Okay, but let's be real. She was probably letting them things outside on,
Oh,
the
for
porch
sure.
to protect. Uh, yeah, the Long brothers 100% were like, let's make something truly unhinged. Uh, and yet it's so good and hilarious. And they nailed it because it's just, I don't even know what to
What's
say.
yeah.
It really just genuinely is so unhinged to watch.
This is so great for a lot of different reasons, but I feel like they absolutely understood the assignment of like we are in and out. We told a for the most part a very cohesive story, and the amount of time we had, we it's gonna stick with you. And uh, I think compared to the rest of the movies, well, at least so far, the least amount of gore up to this point. Um, it was like it had just the right amount of gore. It wasn't like
Yeah.
I feel like the other directors would have been like, let's rip their head off and just spew blood everywhere and do all that. But yeah, uh, the collar cam on the dog when he's drinking, I was like, this shit is the wildest thing I've
Man.
seen in a very long time.
You were over there talking about that cat that you like
Yes,
last
I was
week,
thinking about
and
that.
then we got that.
Speaking of which, Maxwell the cat still roaming the streets of Taiwan. I think it is still wreaking havoc, man. Uh, Wild.
Chris found that cat and showed me what was going on with Homeboy. And yeah, no,
He's an
he's a
absolute
good little
menace.
man. I love him. I love when people put like videos on their cats and their cats are just out there just fucking getting it. My favorite. So good.
All right. The last of the five segments, Stowaway, starring Alana Pierce. I knew that she looked familiar and could not place where I knew her from, and it is in fact Alana Pierce, um, famous. What's a content creator? I think is how she got
Yeah,
started.
because Chris at one point was like, oh, she does YouTube. And then he was like, that's not really the right thing to say. And I was like, I don't actually know who she is. And then Chris gave me some context because this one was directed by Kate Siegel, who I absolutely love and adore. She's like such a great actress herself, and like I just love her so much. And her husband Mike Flanagan wrote it, and he is like an absolute mastermind and genius when it comes to like some of the crazy horror stuff that he creates. But apparent so there's one guy that Mike Flanagan will use in some of his shows, Raul Coley, and Chris was like, It's kind of under the table that these two might be dating uh this main girl. And I was like, "Oh, okay. So that's how they got her." They were just like, "Yo, our boy Raul, help us get the setup." And they're like, "Yeah, here you go. Here's this cool chick."
So,
Yeah.
what do you think of this one? Because I feel like this one had a really cool concept, and then immediately kind of, well, I don't want to say immediately, but like fumbled the bag halfway through. Like it fumbled at the 1 yard line.
I think that this one was genuinely very interesting. Um, because you like if we take it into the context of like if this was when was this being recorded? Like the 80s or something?
Yeah,
Uh like imagine actually having to do an alien documentary on a camcorder and there's just the whole thing where she's like trying to get interviews and she's like, "Yo, some of these kind of suck. What am I gonna do? I guess I'm just gonna go out and do whatever." And then she sees the cool little lights and she's like, I'm gonna follow this one. And then she just sees this big, I don't even know what she's looking at because it just looks insane. I literally, like, my brain could not comprehend what she was looking at because I was like, is this water? Because of the way it was like kind of
oh
rippling.
yeah.
And Chris was like, no, it looks like an egg. And then she was like moving her hand so you could tell that the light. And I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then she's just like, I'm just gonna go in it. And I was like, no, what a white woman thing to do. That you can just go in there and be like, I deserve the right to go in here.
I thought that this was one of those things, and I think the reason that I say that it fumbled at the 1 yard line is because it was so much different than the other shorts in the thing,
Yeah,
where the other ones were faster, a little bit more upbeat in their kind of like tempo to get to. We're skydiving, we're turning people into dogs, we're, robots ripping people's faces off. We got Resident Evil going on. And then like this one is very slow and thoughtful and you know, for most of it is one person, you know, doing the things. It just it was different. I don't want to say it was bad. It was just different for this. Like,
yeah.
yeah. That's what
I get what you're saying is the fact that it was like it was so much fast pace and then they were like, "Hey, we're going to end it on this weird slow alien thing."
yeah.
Uh and then like the whole ending part was just like, "Oh,
So
okay."
let me ask you that. Did she turn into a spider? Is that what I'm seeing there?
So, I was trying to like figure out what all we were really watching. So she goes in and she's just like, I'm just gonna like mess around with some stuff. And she touches one thing and she's like, oh my God, I have the like craziest cut on my finger. And these cool little sparkle things start coming out and they like heal her. And she's like, oh, okay. And then she just does it again, but then it like heals weird.
Yeah.
Like she's got like that weird finger and it's just like, hmm. And then, she starts to realize that, like, uh-oh, something's coming in. And that to me, I'm like, no, absolutely not. She went and hid in one of those creepy little hole things. And she's like, I don't know what this mucus stuff is, but I'm going to climb in there. And I'm like, girl, where do you think that this thing sleeps? And then she's like, okay, it's in its little thing. And she just gets out and starts talking around it. And I'm like, that stresses me out. you should be quiet and trying to get out. And then she's like, oh no, I can't find the door. Yeah, babe, you were over there just doing whatever you were doing, just documenting everything. I will say that the like part where the craft goes back up into space, like that was really cool. I really liked watching
Yes.
the fact that she's like vibrating and stuff and how all that was working and she's like floating around. I thought that was pretty sick looking.
Yeah, that I thought that was very cool as well.
And then she hits the like little string thingies and practically just explodes and her particles are all
Yes.
in the air and I was like, "Oh my god." Like that was crazy in itself. Just to be like, "Oh, no wonder this like alien thing is just like, yeah, I go sit in my little egg cuz you get knocked around out here. It's crazy."
Right. I don't want to get cut
But
up.
yeah. Oh, no. That thing like sliced her when she was like, "I'm just going to poke it." Ouch.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I think that it was, I don't know, because I'm like, was it trying to collect different like creatures? And then
It looked that way.
somehow their DNA is like a part of the little glittery things, and that's how she became some weird creature at the end because the little glittery things were like, "We fixed you."
Yeah, I kind of think that's what it was, where it was like, oh yeah, like we've because we got the spider here and we know how to fix a spider, so we can fix this thing the same way. Here, we fixed you all better, spider. And yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah. It was very interesting because there was like a lot going on, and then it was just like, "What is this?" And then it just like, "Okay, it's over. Okay, sure." Like it's one of those that I'm like, I definitely like thought about it. Definitely like thought about the fact that some lady's trying to turn people into dogs. It's wild out here.
So
I like the creativity of like so many of these though.
yeah, I mean, I'll listen. I'll definitely give credit where credit's due and say that for them to come up with essentially five original stories, six, I guess, if we do the wraparounds, um, you know, this very much feels like, in the best possible sense, guerrilla filmmaking, where they're like, hey, we have a weekend, and I actually feel this way, like, kind of more strongly about the skydiving one than the rest of them. But of course, like, hey, we have a weekend, and I got a guy who has made CGI monsters and knows how to put those into movies. Let's make a movie. You know, let's run around this orchard for 6 hours, film a bunch of stuff, and then we'll put it together. And now we got this 15-minute long movie. Um, that's honestly what all this feels like, in the best possible way. Um, I love this type of thing in general. I love little short films, little vignettes put together as a collective. I loved it when I was a kid, when I was watching things like
Yeah.
Heavy Metal. I love Death and Robots. Star Wars Visions is another good example of this. Um, Tales from the Crypt, that old horror show on HBO from back in the day, is another great example of this, where it's like, we're in and out, we're going to tell these short stories, everyone gets a turn, boom. And this is great to me. So,
Yeah. It was
um,
interesting. It was
all
fun.
right. Lastly, what'd you think of like the documentary slash interstitials slash end alien reveal of all of that?
there's a lot going on. And I was like, I feel like my brain was not processing things properly when I was like, because it's like you watch a clip and then you're going to watch a video and then you watch a clip from, like, Chris was like, oh my God, these guys are like, they actually like do this on their YouTube channel and stuff. I've watched them before. And like, I was like, what is happening? There's a lot of crazy stuff going on in this movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know if my brain was technically like, do we understand all what's happening at this point?
I
So, what are your thoughts?
I kind of didn't. I kind of wasn't on board with it for the most part. Um,
Okay.
I was, and I guess maybe because I don't know what I was expecting, but when we finally got to it, and I was just like, "Oh, that's it." Okay, all right, yeah, spooky alien. All right, I got stuff to do now. That's kind of where I was by the end of the movie, or at least for that interstitial thing. Like, I don't know, it's like, ooh, spooky alien. Okay, we're done, and yeah. So yeah, I
Aliens.
could kind of take it or leave it. Uh, again, I did like the fact that they had the Corridor Digital guys. I love them. I love them guys. I watch their content on YouTube. Um, you know, I thought it was really clever to have them as to be like the experts on the
Yeah.
the fake stuff. So, yeah. But other than that, I don't know. Overall, great experience. Can't wait for the next one to come out next year because they seem to be doing them about once a year now, and I'm not upset at it.
They just popping off, having a good time.
Yeah. So, all right. You got anything else about VHS Beyond before we move on?
Nah,
All
man.
right, rock and roll, man. Let's move on to my favorite part of the week, part where we talk about the little things that we are grateful for, the little things that have made us happy. Raven, please tell me what has made you happy this week. Besides going and getting plastered on a Sunday afternoon with your friend Heather.
Uh, the when did we go? Yeah, the night before on Saturday, I went and did a haunted corn maze with another friend. It's like someone that Chris works with, and she was like, "Hey guys, I know Chris has to work. Uh, do you guys want to hit up a haunted corn maze?" And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds great." Because Chris will no longer do like haunted houses, this anything that like does any form of jump scares. Chris is like, I don't want to do it anymore. I was doing it with you, but I can't. It's too much for me. And I was like, okay, that's fine. So I went to one last year with my friend Chloe, and we had a really good time. And it was literally like our second time like hanging out, and we were like, here, let's just go do this. And we did it like a haunted house. Uh, I so I forgot that Chloe's actually a big weenie, and she's like, "Oh, the anxiety's starting to hit," and I was like, "Oh, I don't like get anxious about like going to like haunted houses or anything because I'm like, I know what I'm signing up for.
Right.
Like, I want that stuff, and it honestly just kind of makes me laugh because I'm like, oh, that was funny, like, hee hee, haha." And so you just go in with like a glow stick, and it was a pretty big corn maze. And we definitely heard like multiple people get like scared, and like we heard some good screams, and they definitely got my friend Chloe quite a bit. And I was just like, this is fun. This is a good time. So yeah, that's that and hanging out with Heather are what really just like made me very happy and have a good time.
Awesome.
Mark, what about you?
Uh, two things. First thing is, I know that I talk an awful lot about my kids on here, and y'all are just gonna have to deal with it because they are the things that make me happy because they are a direct reflection of myself. Uh, A lot of the times I judge how I'm doing in life as to how my kids are doing in life. And for me, seeing my kids succeed at the things that we put forth a whole bunch of effort into really makes me happy. And with saying all that, Amy got a report card last week and did really good on it. I'm super proud of her. A lot of it was, I can see the results of us, taking the time out to study and making sure that she's understanding all of the schoolwork that we're going over, and I can see the results of like her getting better grades, and it just really makes me feel good, and I'm just super proud of her. And Alice
Nice.
doing her and her theater class in school just competed at their one act competition and got second place, and I'm super proud of them for that too. I have not seen the play yet. That's going to be in a couple weeks. I'm super excited, and I'm super proud of them kids because I know that they work hard. Alice has pretty much been at after school practice almost every day since school started, and for her and her group to be second place is pretty special. So yeah.
Woo woo! Way to go,
Yeah, man.
girls.
Super proud of them. So,
Good kids.
all right. Raven, why don't you tell everyone where they can find us on the social medias?
If you like this cute little podcast, it's called Nerd for No Reason, and you can go on the social medias, probably anyone of your choosing, but not TikTok. Don't follow us on there because we don't exist on there
We do
anymore.
not.
But yeah, you can follow us there. You can follow me on Instagram at That's a Raven Ellis or on Twitter at spooky_Raven. Mark, where are you located?
Pretty much on Instagram, at Turtles Do It. I have kind of sworn off Twitter/X now. I haven't been on it in like 2 weeks. Um, it's just
That's fair.
it's just one of the things. Like literally every time I get on there, it's just a bunch of people really upset at like the wrong thing, and I'm like, yeah, I don't want to be on here anymore. This place is not fun or whatever, and I'm just kind of not down for it anymore. So
That's fair.
so yeah.
I've been on Reddit like a lot, but like, who gives out their Reddit?
Oh, not me. Um, and
No.
it's not like I actually do anything on Reddit anyway, other than just lurk. So,
Oh yeah,
uh,
you find some unhinged stuff on there, and I found a crazy like, "Am I the asshole?" post today, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'll have to send you that one because it's oh my gosh."
Reddit is
But
is
yeah,
my absolute jam. There's certain stuff on there that I have found over the years that I've saved that is probably my absolute favorite stuff I've seen on the internet. We might have to do like a Reddit episode, just wild shit that we've seen on Reddit. So
that'd be fun.
yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for listening this week. I'm super tired. I'm ready for bed, man. Uh,
Big EP.
so, everyone, go and do something wonderful in the world today.
And go and just all the spooky ookies. And we'll see you again next week on the Nerd for No Reason podcast. Ooh.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening to the Nerd for No Reason podcast. You can find us on all major social media platforms at Nerd for No Reason. Our podcast music is Memories in 8-Bit by Deanna Joan, aka Fergie's Human. You can follow her on Twitter at Deanna Joan Music and check out her other social media links in the show notes of our podcast.